All right, good morning. Welcome back. Uh, let's see. I wanted to do a video here about the topic of 3 a.m. All right. Uh, if you look around a little bit, you'll find all kind of stuff about the 3 a.m. Thing, right? On both sides of the fence, really. You'll see a bunch of people talking about how it's demonic and nothing but evil spirits and all types of stuff, right? Uh, and then you may also find the more spiritual side where they talk about being able to connect and it being basically a time of the day where your energy is at a peak, right? So. This is something that you find very commonly. One of those two things, depending on whose storyline you're looking at, what kind of videos you watch on YouTube or what kind of people you talk to, what kind of books you read, right? It's all going to be up to that, right? So, I wanted to make a video talking about it for a couple of reasons. One of them is to uh, really get rid of that notion that everything is all evil. For anyone who is just starting to go through this process, um, or anywhere in it, or just interested or whatever, really, to be honest with you, like, because this is part of the problem, right? In navigating the maze, right? Being the seeker, right? You find all this knowledge, and things can be broken down to you in many ways and make a lot of sense, either way. And the reason is because everything works either way. If you have watched some of my videos, right, especially in the beginning, and I was talking about things that I've grown to understand, right, then you would know that I understand and believe that the energy of everything, really, everything here is neutral. And it's you, the user, who has a free choice in things, in doing things a certain way, using things a certain way, making things what would be considered to be good or bad, um, and etc. Right? So I guess first and foremost, I'll just say uh, something what I've discovered, right? Is that first of all, it definitely is. There's truth to that. That 3 a.m. But it's actually the time between 3 and 4 a.m. It seems to be a very powerful time of the day. Um, I don't believe that it's the only one. I believe, uh, things show up in patterns, uh, and my guess is there's probably 2 or 4 times a day that are at peaks like this. But we'll just talk about what I know. What I know is that, yeah, between 3 and 4 a.m. is, it definitely seems to be a more empowered time, right? Uh, this is why um, people will often like automatically wake up at this time of night, right? Uh, Especially depending on when you go to sleep. If you go to sleep, around 11 or 12 at night, then, somewhere around 3 is right around where you're going to be falling into your REM sleep. And, I know there's different things that can play into that, so you might fall in sooner or later than that, but it's supposed to be an average time. You know, uh, anyways, people will often wake up at this time, right? And especially if you're going through an awakening, if you're going through this transformation process that I know I'm going through, right? I think one or two things happens, and like I flip flop between the two, which is either that you stay up that late automatically, right? Uh, or if you have to go to sleep or you're just that tired that day or whatever, and you do go to sleep, most very often you'll wake up during that time. And sometimes you may just be tired and decide to go back to sleep. And sometimes I think it may be incredibly beneficial for you to just get up and do a meditation. Okay. Uh, the universe is trying to show you something if you're having this happen to you. Right? It's also a way to kind of stumble across things because I believe that we do stumble across things in life. Um, it's just whether we actually grasp what they are, and embrace them or not is two different things. You know. So first of all, I want to say that yeah, this time in the morning very very much does seem to have a powerful energy, or maybe even gateway during that time. I don't know what you call it, uh, but I do know that I've had some very very powerful meditations during that time. I also want to say I have had a couple of powerful meditations during the middle of the day too. So but this is not to say that that time is the only time when things are possible, or something like that. That is definitely not true. So we'll dispel that too if there's anyone talking about that. But beside the fact that this is a real thing, that is true, that it exists, uh, you know, I'd like to get out of anybody's mind who is going through this process that this is not a demonic, evil, uh, messed up, crazy thing for you to be afraid of. In fact, having fear about it will hold you back. You will not accomplish what you want to accomplish. And I won't say that you can't produce something that you wouldn't want to produce. I don't know what's in your head, to be honest with you. And this is really the truth of it. And this is how you start to understand, and anyone going through this process is going to start being able to discern things for themselves and really understand what's what, and decipher the bullshit from the truth, right? Uh, and for, it really is bullshit to say that this is all evil spirits and demonic things and whatever. Uh, it's that is the biggest load of shit I've ever heard in my life. And to me, if you're someone who is saying that and promoting that, then I see it as one of two things: either you don't know, or you don't want other people to know, and you're trying to steer them away from this. That is most likely what's happening. And it's not surprising to me because with all the esoteric knowledge, all the stuff, all the ancient things, right? Both sides of the fence have been hiding this, in plain sight, right in front of people's eyes for thousands of years, like for forever. When it comes down to it, like really, this is the world culture. Okay, this all this esoteric knowledge. Everyone at every moment in time in history, they have, in one way or another, if you start going through it, they believe in all of this stuff. Okay. And if you start going through the knowledge of different groups of people from different time frames and etc., you'll see the same thing, that these people all believed in this slight variations of the same thing. Even when you think it's the whole opposite side and a big evil group of people who've done some really fucked up shit, right? Even they believe in the same things you believe in. There's some slight little twist to it, but not a whole lot. A lot of it is just the use, okay, of the energy, the use of the power. Are you selfish or are you for the people? Give me 1 second here. So my point was that the energy of things and their use and like what comes out of them. Okay, this is up to you. All right, and this this the energy is neutral, and you, the user, you have the free choice. You are the one who either uses it and produces in a positive way or a negative way. Okay. Uh, and if you're doing this type of thing misguided and not knowing really what you're doing and not really being attached to this, not coming to this naturally, well, then you may be messing around with this in a negative way. Uh, I couldn't say. I'm not you. All right. What I can say is for those of us who are not attempting to do something negative with this, create something negative with this, um, be negative in any type of way. Really, maybe if you have that type of personality or thing going on with you or inside of you, I don't know. I can speak for myself and speak for what I do know now of how all this really works, right? And so the 3 a.m. is definitely a high energy time. I love to use it to meditate. I love meditating during that time. I very often have really good, amazing experiences during 3 a.m. meditations. Some of the most amazing ones, like, they don't always happen, but very often when I do have one, uh, it ends up being one that I do during that time. And it always is so amazing, it's so positive, and so uplifting. It always leaves me feeling uh, very uplifted, uh, incredibly intrigued. It makes me feel good. A lot of times, it makes me feel better. And it all depends on which ones, but I have never had any type of negative experience during it at all, and I'm not about to start. And I really view the people making those videos, as two things. I don't think that everything is so sinister. Like, I don't think everybody intends to do, miseducating. Although I know that that happens and that's out there. Some people do stuff with the intention of keeping you asleep and keeping you stupid and keeping you away from your natural ability, because this is what all this really is. Things that we've been led to believe are supernatural really are the more natural way of living and existing, and the roots of how we're supposed to live, right? This is how we've gotten so lost uh, in a nation, of sleeping people, really. Is that we've been disconnected from our natural mode of existence, our natural way of living, our thinking, believing, feeling, creating, Alright, so my 3 a.m. meditations are amazing. And so anybody who is going through this process, this transformation, because it's clear to me now that this is a transformation, just like a caterpillar. I'm now in this cocoon stage where I'm transforming. The old is shedding away and the new is beginning. And I am going to be a completely different being very soon. I don't know how long this is going to take. I know I still have a lot of work to do on mastering myself and things. This is definitely a process, but I'm doing the right things, and I can explain some to you. And I probably should start really getting down to some good stuff. Uh, so my advice to anybody going through this is just to use that time. Your body's keeping you up at night, so you can be alone. Kind of be the hermit. Uh, do a lot of thinking, self-reflection, etc. Right, and do meditations. Uh, I'll talk about something that happened to me very recently in meditation. Okay, during one of these late night sessions. Okay, in between 3 and 4 a.m. All right, and it wasn't anything demonic. Okay, absolute opposite. All right, there's no negative things around my 3 a.m. meditations. So here, a very recent one. Okay, uh, has to do with, some other things. So I'll give you a quick little backdrop. If you've seen I made a couple of videos about experiences I've had during meditation, right? And so it's hard to remember what all I've talked about and what I haven't. So one thing was that, I've seen before, first of all, my aura and someone else's aura actually too. But I got to see how it works, how it generates and pulsates out from us. I got to see one time how it interacts with someone else who was in the room with me. Um, I got to see what color it was, at least during that time. I'm not sure if it varies or not, but I've seen it before. It's always been the same bright blue. It's like a nice bright light blue. Um, so I know how it radiates out from us. I've also seen how our minds, how our brains work like a receiver, and how things pulsate into us, and also how we pulsate out, we project out. And it really, it's like this. It depends on you. I don't know how much I talked about that before, but real quickly, since I'm saying it, I've seen it. We pulsate out from us. Our thoughts, our feeling, emotion, attention, right? Okay. And when you're calm and relaxed and at ease and thinking, how you're supposed to be, right? This is what you send out. It pulsates out nice and steady like this, right? It just does. Okay. And we change our thoughts all the time. So this is how, like, before you wake up, you're living in a mode of sleep, and you don't pay attention to this. You're quick to get mad. You're quick to get angry. You're quick to get this. You're quick to get jealous, or whatever. All these things, right? And you have no idea how suddenly that pulsates out from you differently. Now you're sending out something completely different. I'm no bullshit. I've seen this for myself. It's just in the matter of that second of thought, it'll go from this nice, steady, pulse, probably kind of like your heartbeat, and then all of a sudden you get mad or have a wrong thought, and it starts to get faster. It's going out the sides, and it's just yeah, right. And as soon as you change that thought back to something pure and correct and calm, right, it'll go right back. It'll go right back. So we really do. We change the frequency. I talk about this like to say, just mentioning some other things I've seen during meditations, okay? Because they're gonna have relevancy to this one. Also, is another one is that I've seen these orbs, of light. and I like different colors, and in the beginning, they were just, it was like they were curious. They were coming to see me and going away, coming and looking and going away and coming and going. Eventually they came to be much very different, and I look at them as like spirit guides now. Is pretty much how I look at that. And like so most of the time, almost always in meditation, when I fall into the zone, I tend to meet two of them almost always, and occasionally there's more, right? And there's the most high, which occasionally you get that connection, and those are the greatest ever. Uh, so. My point was just talking about some things I've seen in meditation because they relate to this recent one. Okay. So I recently was doing a meditation just the other day, the night before last, I think. In this time between 3 and 4 a.m., right? And uh, it, 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 it seems I think I've been having a progression, of these things happening in meditation, because I think I've been doing the correct things. Like there's work, there's things that you need to do, and steps, right? And I should probably start talking about those. Um, like a meditation, like probably a week or so before this one, right? Give you an idea what I'm talking about. Uh, I made a really good connection. Um, and when you're in the zone like that, you can be more conscious and like talk and ask questions in your mind, and responses and things will come to you actually. Or that's my experience with it. Okay. Um, and so, I'm in meditation, and I get into that zone, right? And I made a great connection, right? And so this was, yeah, the one before, like a week or so before. I remember, well, just just stay with it, right? So I'm in meditation, okay, and make a good connection, okay, and things that have been going on lately, and things that I had been thinking about and feeling, right. I've been trying to you know progress, and really, I'm doing a lot of these things just through intuition, and some of them through being aware of the lessons that you can find from teachings that I find valuable, right? uh, and so I asked Source, basically. I asked God. I asked it to take away, any um, unrighteous, unnecessary anger, and frustration, things of that nature, right? And don't get me wrong, not any anger, right? Because there is such a thing as righteous anger, right? It exists for a reason. It's something that's in our toolkit that sometimes we need to access, right? And not for nonsense, but sometimes because that's what's necessary to make change. Uh, Oftentimes when you don't like things and you get angry, that's what it takes for you to want to do something about it, right? And it doesn't mean do something negative about it, but you use that anger as a fuel, right? So it's not to. I didn't ask to get rid of any and all anger, but I asked it to get rid of any unnecessary and unrighteous anger, and to help me to not, you know, uh, react to things, too quickly or angrily, because this is a big step, right? This is a big part of your transformation is learning to master that, you know. Some places will call it, like not allowing anyone to get your goat, or, the it's also learning to not take, life so seriously, even though life is serious and etc. Right at the same time, uh, you can't take it so serious. You gotta go with the flow. You gotta have faith. You gotta trust and believe. Faith plus works, right? So, you can't drive yourself nuts with the details, right? You gotta learn to laugh about things and learn to laugh at yourself and learn to laugh about life, right? Uh, so, I was asking it to take any unnecessary anger from me. Uh, and when I did, I was projecting that energy out, with this pure intent, that was really what I desire, really what I want, really who I want, because I don't want to be this, I don't want to be a negative person. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be putting out negative energy, right? I'm transmuting this all into something better, okay? So I was purely uh, asking for this, right? And when I did, it was like an immediate response, right? Uh, and because I was projecting and pulsating this out, and then that's when I saw one of those orbs, right? And it was small, and it was purple, like a light purple, like like you would see probably in like a chakra chart or something, right? At the top there's the purple and whatever, right? So there's a light, bright purple like that orb, and it just kind of floated on down and came around on into me, right? And when it did, it just felt like amazing, like, just really like great, it felt like I kind of let something off my shoulders, like you just dropped a bag, you know. And I also like got the like thoughts immediately, like good job, like you just had like that's one of the steps, like that's one of the things you were needed to do, you know. And I did it. And I didn't go into that meditation knowing that. I didn't go into that meditation thinking that that's what I was gonna do. It's just when I got into that trance, into that mode, and made that connection, that was what I felt, and that was what I did, and that was what happened, right? And this is all okay at this 3 to 4 a.m. time frame, right? Where, like I say, I've had some really great meditations. Okay. So that was the one that had happened like a week beforehand, and that was I explained that one because I think it's a step in the transformation process. There's some giving in, involved in it, uh, and you're really asking for this to be taken from you, you know. Not anger, period, but unjustified, unrighteous, unnecessary, drama, anger. It's detrimental, it's garbage, it's unnecessary, and it's a big step. So, and you really have to mean that, just like everything. Anything you want to manifest, anything you want to do, anything you want to grow, you have to have this pure intention, and you can't lie to yourself or God. So there's no faking the funk. All right. So then now the other night I did another meditation that was in this 3 to 4 a.m. range. Okay. Uh, and it's like the same deal. At first meditation for me, I'm very calm. You shut down. You're quiet, your mind, everything, right? until you get into that zone, and which is, midway between consciousness, midway between conscious and subconscious. You fall into that zone, right? Uh, and when you do, this is when, things start to happen. And I often meet what I call now my spirit guides. They have emotional energy that's different. Uh, I meet them and I feel different things from them. Sometimes, there's more, etc. Uh, so the other night, uh, I'm doing one of these meditations, and I incorporated, something new I've been doing now for, I don't know, maybe a couple of months. But I've been using, crystals lately to try and amplify the energy of what I'm doing. And I gotta say, I really believe that there's something to this. I was having really, really great experiences happen during meditation, without gemstones, without crystals, okay? But uh, since I've been using them, I have found them useful. And I think that it is true that they can amplify your energy. Uh, so anyways, I did a meditation the other night, and I had this crystal, which I have been finding very useful for me, more so than others so far, which is the Lumerian seed crystal. Okay, and that probably is backwards on there or something. But yeah, this Lumerian seed crystal, and then there's another one that I have that it's not a crystal, it's more like a stone, 'cause kind of like not a granite, but it's more like a stone, like than a crystal. Anyways, I did this meditation with these two. I had my Lumerian seed crystal in my receptive hand, and the stone in my projective hand. And I've been learning all kinds of things about that, so that'll only have meaning to anybody who's been getting into that type of stuff, right? Uh, Point is just what happened, So I had a really great connection, really, really good one. I could feel. It was amazing, and uh, this was a really emotional connection in meditation, actually. I there wasn't a whole lot of, like the one I just explained. I was, thinking and talking, projecting what I wanted to project, and I got a response back and stuff, right? And this was, it was like that and it wasn't. Like it would come and go. It was really a big feeling, and what it was like energy. I kept like dipping down and up and down and up, and so I was having like these peaks and valleys, right? Of like it felt like such deep sadness and hurt, right? And then it would come on up to a good uh like strengthening, like virtuous, like rising confidence, right? And then go back down, and it was like, I kept getting the feeling and the thought of like I was digging these things out of me, like this was a healing, was really how it felt, and it was tears were just streaming from my eyes, like I would go down in this energy and into this darkness, right? And get this, and the tears would just stream, and then sure enough, the energy would just rise and rise and rise, and I would feel powerful, and I would feel like in control, and I would feel great, and I would feel relief, and I would feel, and it was amazing. I'm smiling, right? And it kept happening. It happened quite a few times. This was a very long meditation, actually. It was about an hour. I think it was like 55 minutes or so total when I looked down. and I know it keeps track because I was using some meditative beats. And by the way, I was using the 528 hertz, which I have found very useful for some really incredible meditations lately. If you're looking for a good frequency to try, I've had some really great meditations using the 528 hertz frequency. Um, and so this was one of them. And yeah, I cried during this. It was really emotional, and tears just, them silent, like you don't make a noise, but then tears just flow, right? They just- that's what was happening, and that was the feeling that I was getting too. Like this was this was deep, deep work. I was rooting these things out of me, like cleansing them. And I am very aware that I carry around some things from uh, times in my life. You know, I never thought that I let them bother me that much. I tend to shrug shit off and bottle things up and etc. But after this experience the other night, like it's obvious to me that I've had some stuff deep down in there, and it must have been affecting me because just like going through the transformation in this process is rooting, other things out of me. Like, no more coffee. I'm almost done with cigarettes. I'm doing really great. It's a process. Still, it's hard, but I'm almost there. Alcohol I've been done with for a long time. Like I drink clean water now. Uh, I'm changed my diet. I'm still working on that. That's almost as hard as cigarettes. But yeah, I definitely eat much more fruits and vegetables now, and I'm way more conscious of that, and I'm working on it. Right? And so it doesn't just shed like these. Transformation doesn't just change you in these physical outward ways. This is also deep, deep inner work. Okay, uh, and that is really, really apparent to me now. Okay, up until this point, I wasn't. I knew. It's just been revealing more and more to me over time. Okay, we'll just say it like that. And so this the other night, it was really something, and I feel like it's probably necessary. That this is the type of work, the type of thing that is very necessary if you're going through this transformation. Actually succeed in what you want to do, to succeed in your yeah. So this, I think this inner work is just very, very important to your transformation. So the point relevant to this video is just that I've had really amazing meditations during this time uh, of mourning, and so there is nothing negative or demonic or anything like that about it. And if you experience anything like that, my guess is because it's you're trying to, or this is what's within you, right? For whatever reason. Okay. Because I definitely know that I have had nothing but great experiences during this time. Um, but that's the direction that my transformation is going, right? So, I know I forgot to mention or talk about some things that I wanted to, and that's the problem with me being a little distracted by someone at the moment. So sorry about that. Um, but I'll make more videos. I think about something that I briefly touched on here. You know, I wanted to make this video to make it important that because sometimes during navigating your way through this maze, right, and seeking out the knowledge and understanding, knowing yourself, learning how this all works, right? You'll come across people and knowledge and stuff that like these people will screw you up, okay? They will tell you that everything is the devil, that everything that they don't understand is evil spirits, and everything is all this Satan, and everything is all whatever. Let me tell you, man. All right, that that is such nonsense. It's ridiculous. It's more of the same. Okay, throughout history, can I be honest with you? This is the world culture, the world religion, if you will. Though it's not really a religion, all right? And it is. And if you start going through all the different groups of people throughout different time frames, okay, and whatever, you'll come to find out that they all pretty much believe in the same shit. All right. Uh, they got different names for it, different, etc. So some of them will have little things tweaked here, a little difference there, but it's all pretty much the same knowledge. It's all pretty much the same stuff. And even if you go into the negative places, okay, like Satan worship and shit like this, okay, they believe in the same energies, the same things, the same rules and laws of the universe, okay. They all believe in the same shit, right? Some of them will teach their people a little different because they're trying to control their people, right? Some of them will come to different outcomes because they have a person with that type of mindset running their system, or did way back when it started. You know what I mean? Okay, we are the users. We have the free choice to do what we're gonna do. Okay, and I do now believe in also predestiny, etc. But we also have our free choice too. This is part of this whole game here, part of the school, part of being a human, part of having this physical, existence experience. All right. So, you know, uh, it's just it's how are you gonna use it? So don't let these people scare you into. You got to think about it. Like these are the people who want to separate you from God to begin with. They don't want you to know that you're connected to God. They don't want you to know that you don't need a guru, that you don't need a pastor or a preacher or a church to belong to, or to have to follow all their specific rules to a T, and no one else will make it to heaven. Like, this is all indoctrination of nonsense to use as control of people. Now, I'm not going to say you can't get anything good out of religion, because you can. All right, there's a little truth in every lie, a little lie in every truth. Okay, a deception works by giving you some truths. Okay, so in every religion you're going to find some truths. In every religion you can find God, right? If it's in you, and if that's your intention, right? But you can also become a fanatic and go completely wrong with your thinking, and we've seen so many countless examples of that in religion throughout history that I don't think it needs to be talked about or explained. That's You can open your eyes and look around for yourself. I don't have to talk about it. Right. So I'm not super harsh on religion. At the same time, it's only going to get you so far, and it actually can also get you lost in stuff. But there's some truths in them, whatever. But these are the people who give you propaganda. These are the people who tell you that everything that is actually naturally in you, naturally a part of you, that you should be connecting to live a good, proper, natural life connected to God and Source, right? Being a creator, being your full potential self, not being depressed, not being held down, not being oppressed or suppressed, right? Okay. These people don't want you to be free like that. So they'll tell you all this shit is the devil, is another form of getting good, honest people who don't want to offend God or don't want to do anything wrong, to stay away from things that'll liberate themselves, right? That'll empower themselves, that'll have them think for themselves, that'll have them feel correctly, have them walk away from the things that make these coward ass assholes rich, okay? Uh, so this is just another example of what's been going on for forever. All of this knowledge, all of this understanding, okay, it's been hidden in plain sight for forever. And if you go to like indigenous tribes somewhere where they haven't, society hasn't, completely changed how they live, they just believe in this stuff, period. This is just how they live, all right? And, for Eastern cultures and civilizations, like this, all this stuff is much, much bigger, you know. It's widely taught, and if you're over here in the West, this is suppressed, this is held down, this is ridiculed, they try to make you believe that this is all fake, that this is bullshit, that this is a fiction, right? While they really sell you the fiction, sell you the poison, sell you the bullshit. So I don't want to be negative, man. I really don't. So I'm not going to. My point was just that, throughout history, okay, and I mean thousands and thousands of years, both sides of the fence have hidden this knowledge in plain sight for a reason, okay? The good people who would only want to use this to help themselves and the people around them, their tribe, whoever they're responsible for, right, etc. They would only want to use this for positivity and connecting with the earth, right, and living how we should. Those people are trying to keep it away from the assholes who will misuse the knowledge to enslave people, to step on people, to to, to get the wrong impression of the teachings and think that it's okay to do whatever the fuck you want, no matter what, right? See, that's there's some twists, and that's how deception works, right? People take some truths, they get taught some truths, they see some understanding of some things and how it works, right? And then they twist a little bit, right? Then get a fucked up understanding and do fucked up shit, right? Uh, so people were hiding this from the assholes. They don't want the assholes to get it, okay? Rightfully so, you can't give it away because an asshole's gonna pick it up. And the way that they're going to use it is well, we're seeing the results of that, to be honest with you. Okay. And then the assholes are fucking keeping it away from everybody and hiding it because they don't want you to wake up. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to have a clue. How can they deceive you if you're aware? How can the magician pull off the trick if you know how it's done? How can the thief come and rob you if you see him coming a mile away and you know that you got all the armor there is in the world, right? You see what I'm saying? So both sides of the fence have been hiding this knowledge from all of us, hiding this understanding, this way of living, we're run by a greed culture right now, and I don't think anybody with a brain would deny that. This society we live in, that's why it's messed up and we're so disconnected and we feel lost and etc. And you gotta kill yourself to get ahead, and it's not even worth it. You sacrifice your life. It's like one or the other. Your money and success or your life. Which one do you want? And the way they run it, your life won't be that great or that much to enjoy if you ain't out here always doing the money, right? It's a big energy sucking game. It's bullshit. Most everybody are aware of this. How aware you are is different. And how did I even get on that? Yeah, because we're talking about 3 a.m. and how it gets this horrible, people saying that it's nothing but demonic stuff or whatever. And I really wanted to make a video about it because I got tired of having to go back and forth with the cycle of knowing and understanding from what I've been receiving that this is nonsense and that any energy is neutral energy and it's how you use it, what you do with it, right? Your intentions. Okay. That's what keeps being given to me. Okay. That's what I know. And then I mess around and I watch some of these videos or something to get somebody's perspective on things. And even when I don't agree, even if I know I don't agree, I often do listen to see if there's anything that they can offer me, anything that I connect with, right? And so occasionally, being curious and objective also about what I'm doing, I'll watch something where people are saying this, that it's all negative, it's all demon shit, it's all this, it's all that. And they will have me questioning myself. And it's been detrimental to my work. All right. It's been detrimental to me progressing through my transformation. Although I'm not holding on to that because I know it's not, nothing will hold me back. All right. It is not possible. You will not hold me back or hold me down. And I don't give anybody any control or power over making or breaking my success or failure of my spirituality or my life period. Alright. So, uh, I just want people to know that if you're going through this and you believe in anything I say, understand and don't be afraid to uh, use that time because it is high energy time. And for me, I know that's time to meditate. You're not staying up that late for nothing. You're not waking up at that time if you do go to bed for nothing. It's calling to you. Okay, you're intuitively ready to use that. All right, so let's drop the negative connotations on it. And really, we can apply that to most things. It doesn't mean that there's not negative people and negative things, but it does mean that when you're talking about energies and things that you're doing in your spirituality and in your time that you're doing those type of activities, okay, there's nothing to fear. All right, fear will hold you back, uh, and there's nothing negative going to be coming from it unless that's what you're doing. That's your intention, right? So, maybe give a shot to a Lemurian crystal seed. Okay. And I can describe some other things. Maybe I'll make a video about gemstones and crystals that I like to use. But I'm kind of a beginner at that, so I don't think I'll do it. But I have noticed some things that I really really like, and I do think that they have the ability to enhance what you're trying to project. Okay. And maybe even receive sometimes too. So, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video. I've been talking plenty long enough. Hopefully, I didn't bore you out of your mind. But if you're listening, there was good stuff to get out of it, okay? So, we're just going to take these negative connotations out of things that don't have anything to do with us. All right, until next time. Thanks.